Greetings friends and fellow cigar box guitar enthusiasts. Del Puckett here. And one of the things I'm going to miss about this place is not only just this wonderful workspace, my creative man cave, aka the Cigar Box Guitar Workshop, but I am going to miss my wonderful neighbors. Seriously, I've had some of the greatest neighbors I've ever had in my life in this place here. One of them in particular, the gentleman who lives right across the way there, I will refer to him as Dirk. So Dirk's been an awesome neighbor. In fact, I am going to build Dirk this 3-string cigar box guitar using this Arturo Fuente box. And so I wanted you to see it first before I got started on it. This is one of those double chateau boxes. This is my favorite Arturo Fuente box. It's the perfect dimension, length, width, and height, and everything. I already started gluing up the blocks, and I wanted you to see it first here before I got started. And I also selected a very straight piece of Pacific Northwest Doug fir for the neck blank. Traditional headstock there, and I will be knocking this thing up here for Dirk. All right, here we go. So for this build, I got one of these Home Depot yardsticks, cut it down to size, got my 23-inch template fret spacing, taped it to the back of the yardstick, and then using the Mighty Mite fret slotting jig, we got the frets slotted into the Home Depot yardstick. This will be the fretboard. So now I'm going to glue this on here, and then this will be the beginning of the neck. Wood glue, clamps, wipe up all the extra, and now hurry up and wait. And one of these circular round hole saws with great tone. And you've heard the term measure twice, cut once. I say measure 3 times, cut once. Then the trick is getting that little dude out. Sometimes that's a little bit of a task. Next, we drill a hole from the potentiometer right where the potentiometer goes. Ta-da! And of course, you're going to want to plug in. So we just drill out a hole for the jack. And then install the jack. It's that easy. Of course, you got to tighten these things down. If there's anything that you don't want to come loose, it's this guy here. Because if this thing comes loose, then you got to open up the entire cigar box to get to that thing, so that you can hold it, so you can spin it and tighten it up. So this one here is extra tight all the time. And then using this nifty notching device, we measure 3 times, and I cut it out using the fretting slaw and also the Dremel. Do you guys hear that? That is the rain. Yep, the rain's coming down. So normally, I don't use my power tools late at night because I don't want to wake up my neighbors or have my neighbors complain. So I try to keep it down. However, it is late at night right now. I can show you the clock. Here, I'll bend the camera up here so you can see the clock. So what does that mean? It means it's late. It means my neighbors are asleep. And I'm going to go out there and I'm going to fire up my saw. Why? For 2 reasons. Number 1, I need to cut this guy off right there because that's how big it's going to be to fit inside the box. Number 1. And then number 2, I need to cut the back angle off here so that it'll fit in the box. So like I said, normally I don't do this kind of work late at night. However, time is of the essence, and since this is Dirk's guitar, maybe he'll remember. I remember that night old Puckett fired up his table saw in the middle of the night. What's he thinking about? Well, this is what I'm doing right now, Dirk. So if you're seeing this and you're remembering that, now you're putting 2 and 2 together and you're knowing that, hey, this was yours, dude. So here I go. Real quick reminder before we cut these things to take these screws out. You don't have to take this one out here because that's in the heel and that's not going to get cut, but I am going to cut this guy down to remove for the back angle. So this guy's got to come out, and then this guy's getting cut off, so I don't have to worry about it. So I'm cutting this one off, and then I'm doing the back angle, so I definitely need to take this guy out because I don't want to ruin my blade. All right, so that whole thing took about maybe 2 minutes, if that. So I cut this notch here, cut this off, and then I cut my back angle. So I'm ready to just snap that dude off, and then of course file this guy down. So I'll do that right now. And since we're filing, I also take opportunity to file out the notch so I have the perfect fit for the neck. And you can see right in there, this is like nice and just perfect. Now I'm going to put the blocks on the inside and then start filing and sanding and shaping and carving the neck. That's my favorite part of the process too, by the way. Okay, so after I've carved out this notch right here, or the trench, whatever you want to call it, I just verify that there is a gap from this shelf right here to this shelf where the piezo is going to go. And I make sure that there's a nice little gap right here. So there's a gap right here. And so that is so that the cigar box top does not come in contact with this neck wood right here. It's for better acoustics. And then I get the Forstner bit here and drill out for the piezo. And then I carve a little trench right here using the Dremel. And this little trench is for the wires. So now we get to carve the neck. One very important thing to point out here that I failed to mention here is that, remember, this is a 23-inch scale neck. So this is 23 inches from the nut, or the 0 fret, 23 inches to the exact spot right here, right underneath where that piezo is going to go. Okay, because the saddle is going to go right on top of here. In order to get proper intonation, we want our frets to be in alignment with our harmonics. So this is really important. So 23 inches from the nut or the 0 fret to where you're going to put your piezo if you choose to use this method. Sandpaper and elbow grease. Together make sawdust. So yeah, so this neck is really coming together really nice. It's ultra straight and really smooth. I'm heating up my soldering iron. And for some reason that sucker gets stuck in there. I can't pull it out. All right, so we are heated up here, and I like to just burn in my position markers. Large and in charge, baby. Large and in charge. For those of you who are wondering, this was an old doornail, and it just so happens to fit perfectly inside of my soldering iron. Makes for nice large solder burns. For those of us with reading glasses, we can see these things from outer space. It's kind of nice. So I will let this thing heat up for about another 5 minutes or so. And then just go to town. And then to color match the box to the neck, I mixed up equal parts of natural and cherry. Mixed them up in a little cup, then took a little Q-tip and just kind of rubbed it on, even on the back, rubbed it everywhere. And I'm telling you, damn near perfect. Next was the tuners, the hook, the eyelets, filed the slots in the 0 fret, dressed the ends of the frets, put the hinge on, and screwed it into the box. So next is next is solder up the piezo to the potentiometer to the jack, test it out, and then strings and a saddle. Here's a little peek inside. So the piezo comes to the input of the potentiometer, The output of the potentiometer goes to the jack. Real straightforward. I do have ground jumpered from the ground leg to the back of the potentiometer, as well as a ground that ties in the ground from the piezo, and the long black line goes to the ground also. So you're probably wondering, why don't you ground the hinge? Well, that's a good question. So on a piezo system, I have found that there is not necessarily a need to ground the strings. And the reason is because the way the piezo works, the piezo is like a crystal. So if you imagine smashed in between this white and the brass is like the back, and then there's like a, if you can barely see it, you can see that little dark in between the brass and the white. That's actually a crystal. And so you have the top side and the bottom side contacts, and the crystal is in the middle. So any kind of vibration is sensed by that crystal, and it creates like a little voltage based on the amount of vibration. More vibration is like more voltage, and so the vibrations have like a frequency, and the vibrations are turned into electrical current. Well, all we're doing is we're just sending that electrical current to the jack, and then the amplifier is going to amplify the vibrations that the piezo picks up. So the strings are not necessarily part of this circuit, even though the strings are creating the vibration. Whereas in a magnetic style pickup guitar, where the strings actually interfere with the magnetic field of the pickup, well, then the strings are definitely part of the circuit, so to speak, and need to be grounded. And you'll know right away, because when you hook it all up and you start playing, that there's a static that won't go away whenever you touch the strings. So yeah, so that is why I don't normally ground the hinge on a piezo style cigar box guitar build. I got an oversized Purple Heart saddle. I do have the 44 tuned to E, the 34 tuned to B, and the 26 also tuned to E. And notice I have a screw here. Dink. That is just an oversized sheet metal screw. What else? I have not yet screwed the corners in yet. I'm going to put the gold corners on here. And I have not yet put on the knob here, so. And I just set the intonation by ear, so I have not used the tuner yet. the gold corners on. And of course the gold. There is no strap button here. So what I do a lot of times whenever I want to play standing up and there's no strap is I just take my pinky and my ring finger on my right hand and I just hold the guitar like that. So it's kind of a little bit of a hack, I guess. I still hold it over here, but you know, this way it gives me a little bit more support and I can still use my pick. So this little lick here that I'm going to do, I'm just going to go up. I'm going to slide up on the low string and then hit the high string and the low string. That's all I'm going to do. So it's going to sound like this. And I'm going to put it everywhere. You can actually hold the guitar just like that. So it's just a cool little trick. Well, that's it for this video. Thanks for everything, Dirk. You've been an awesome neighbor and a good friend.